So this may or may not be of interest to you, but these are the bonus questions, or at least what the bonus questions on your quiz will look like. It'll be basically the same thing, but with different numbers. Hopefully it won't be too bad. All right, I got a pencil. I guess I can get to work. So here we have through a kind of what I think a higher level understanding of mastery on your transformations. So you're supposed to do all this, and there is an order. The order is called Bach. That's the order. And the first thing you're supposed to do is B, and this actually cuts x values in half. Hopefully I made up some x values that were easy to cut in half. So the first thing I'm going to do is f of 2x, all right? And I'm just going to cut these x values in half. I'm not going to explain what half of -4 is. If you don't know that, you don't know that. The next thing we have to do is this h, and that plus 4, it subtracts 4 from x. -2 minus 4 is -6, 1 minus 4 is -3, 0 minus 4 is -4, 4 minus 4 is 0, and it has no change whatsoever on y. Now I'm going to move on to a. There's a -3. That literally does what you think it does. We multiply y by -3. That has no change in x. The x values are the same as they was before. 3 times -3 is -9. 3 times 0 is still 0. 3 times -12. Sorry, -3 times -12 is 36. -3 times 5 is -15. And the last thing we're going to do is k, and that subtracts 7 from y because it says -7. With no change on x. So I'm subtracting 7. That's going to be -16, -7, 29, and -22. Unless I made a mistake, there you go. It's actually really simple. It really is really simple, but 1 in 10 kids might be able to do it, if that. They don't want to do it because it's tables. They're like, I'm not going to do that. So they don't. All right. Second bonus, arithmetic sequence has a 12th term where a of -1 and a 30th term equal to 5. Find the common difference. Normally I would teach, draw some blanks, right? I'm not going to do it with 30. It's quicker just to use algebra. It really is quicker. So what I'm doing is I'm going to use the explicit form a sub n is a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d, or d first. And I'm going to plug in known stuff. Like this is the 12th term. It's literally called a sub 12. It has to be the first term plus n, which is 12, minus 1 times d. So this cleans up to say that a sub 12 is a sub 1 plus 11 differences. I'm going to do the same thing with the 30th term here, and it's literally 30. It's still going to be a sub 1. And I'm going to have 30 minus 1 times d, and that tells me that a sub 30 is a sub 1 plus 29 differences. Oh, by the way, I'm being kind of stupid here. A sub 12 has a known value, doesn't it? A sub 12 has a known value of -1, and a sub 30 has a known value of 5. I wish I would have picked better numbers than things that end up being 11 and 29. But I didn't. So that kind of stinks. what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just off the top of my head, I can't think of anything better. I'm going to multiply the top equation by 29 and the bottom by 11. You might remember doing this in Algebra 1. This is solving systems of equations. Anyways, 29 times -1 is -29. I would have 29 aces of 1. And 29 times 11 is 309. Down low, 11 times 5 is 55. I would have 11 aces of 1. And 29 times 11 is again 309. I'm going to subtract the second equation from the first. -29 minus 55 is -84, if I'm thinking right. 29 minus 11 should be 18. And 309 minus 309 is nothing. All right, anyways, lost my place there. I'm going to divide out the 18. What's that reduce to? -42 over 9. That's still divisible by 3. That's -14 thirds. There's the first term. Now, since I have that piece of information, I can plug it back in. I swore I changed to blue. I can put it right there. So -1 equals -14 thirds plus 11 differences. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to 3 the whole equation so I don't have fractions. It goes there, it goes there. And then I'm going to do some subtraction here. -3 take away a -14 or add 14 is 11. So 11 equals 33 differences. Divide by 33, and I get that the difference is a third. So I have everything I need. Go back up to my original equation. Ace of 1 is the first term, -14 thirds, plus the difference of a third times n minus 1. And when I combine everything in here, I'm going to get -15 thirds, which is -5, 1/3 n minus 5. There's my explicit rule. Fun stuff, huh? Systems of equations, which is, I think, the next thing we do. Anyways, moving on to part 2. Part 2 says find the sum of the 18th through 120th term. Now, we have a little formula here given to us by Carl Friedrich Gauss that says it's n over 2 times the first term plus the last term. Well, in this example, the first term I care about is actually 18 term, and the last term is 120th term. And the number here is just 120 minus 18, add 1 back, which is 103 terms. Yeah. That seems silly that I'm adding 1 back. That's how it works. It is how it works. All right, now I need the 18th term. So to find ace of 18, I go to my formula. It's a third of 18 minus 5. Third 18 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. I need ace of 120. A third of 120 minus 5 is 35. And I've got 103 over 2 sitting here. 1 and 35 makes 36. Half of that's going to be 18. Got ahead of myself. 100 times 18 is 1,800. 3 times 18 is what? 54. So 1,854. Assuming I did my math right. 1,854. I got about 3 minutes before first period starts. See if I can do this one. In Soviet Russia, failing students, this is not true. It's just something I made up because, Soviet Russia. They're not good people, by the way. At least they don't have a good government. Soviet Russia, failing students are used to demonstrate failing parabolic equations for future engineers by shooting them out of a cannon. The path of one poor soul can be modeled by the equation death as a function of time is negative 16t squared plus 336t plus 6. And the first question is, when does this kid go splat, aka hit the ground? The kid goes splat when this is 0. That's when the height is. Let's see here. Something I can do to this equation is I can make it a little bit smaller, but not a whole lot smaller. I didn't design something that was going to factor. But I can divide everything by a 2. 150, 168. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing you a little song. It's called the quadratic formula. It goes x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This is a, this is b, and this is c, and you did this in Algebra 1. We're just going to throw stuff into the equation. I'm saying x here, but in this case it's actually time. So the time is opposite b, negative 168, plus or minus square root of 168 squared, because b is 168, minus 4 times a, which is negative 8, times c, which is 3, all sitting over twice a negative 8. Normally I would do this kind of stuff in my head, but I don't know what 168 squared is, and I don't feel like writing it out. 168 squared, and I have take away 4 times a negative 8 times a 3. So inside that radical is 28,320. So this is negative 168 plus or minus the square root of 28,320. And it's all over negative 16. What is the root of that? $168.29. A 168 plus or minus 168.29. Wow, that's really close. I was expecting different. Both pieces over negative 16. Huh. Doesn't take this kid too long to die, does it? Yeah, it does. Going to my calculator here, if I do the negative 168 minus that, I got negative 336. I divide that by the negative 16, and I get a time of 21.02 seconds. He was in the air for a while. If I do the other side of that, the negative 168 plus, notice how I use a calculator too, arrow up, and divide it by negative 16, I get a weird answer. I get negative 0.02 seconds. Now, there's no way they shot him before they stuck him in the cannon. They would want him to suffer. This is actually what you call an extraneous answer. There's the real time. That kid was in the air for a minute, screaming, knowing it was coming. That also tells the other kids to get their crap together, doesn't it? I'm not saying it's right, but fear works. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the bonus questions.